is looking good. I think we're ready to begin here. What is good, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? Artemu the Violet Wizard here. And today we're returning to a game that I have so much love and respect for. We are returning to the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which is a game that I have previously streamed before over on Twitch under some pretty interesting circumstances. Mostly Spyro 1, as you may recall from the VODs I recently uploaded to this channel. However, we are jumping into this game for one particular game, and that is Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. This has definitely been one I have been really excited to get to play again for quite a bit. Now, this is a game that I did previously start playing over on my Twitch channel last year, but that was back on my older PC, and I wasn't quite satisfied with the presentation of how things were during those sessions. So this is basically a redo of those streams, where we're going to be going to the very start of this game and basically getting to experience everything this game has to offer over here on YouTube. So I'm very excited for how this is going to go, since this is a game I obviously have a lot of love to say about as we dive into this very, very awesome game. Let's just go right into it here.
Is this rain ever gonna stop? I've forgotten what the sun looks like. We should go on vacation. Somewhere warm. Somewhere sunny. Dragon Shores, yeah! I haven't been there since we kicked Nasty Nork's butt. How about it, Sparx? You up for a vacation at the beach? Last one there's a Nork!
Is it working, Professor?
Almost. Just a few more adjustments to these orbs and...
Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Bringing a dragon here could just make Ripto more angry.
Calm down, Hunter, and stop fidgeting.
But you saw the professor's book. They have claws like this, and teeth like this, and they can spit fire like this. They sound much more dangerous than Ripto.
That's exactly the point. A dragon is our only chance of stopping Ripto, and you know it.
It's working! It's working! I've got a dragon!
Huh?
Whoa, rough landing. Hi, which way's the beach? Hey, stop staring. Haven't you guys ever seen a dragon before?
You're a dragon?
You got a problem with that, pussycat?
Oh dear.
Well, well, someone forgot to invite me to the party. Were you trying to keep something from me? A dragon? You brought a dragon to Avalar? I hate dragons. Yeah! Crush! Kill it! Kill it! Go, you imbecile! You ate my scepter! I'll deal with you later!
Who was that jerk?
That was Ripto, and we have to get rid of him. He's causing all sorts of trouble around here, but I haven't got time to explain. Here, take this magic guide to Avalar. It'll help you begin to understand our worlds. Right now, I have to follow Ripto and see what he's up to. I'll meet you in Summer Forest, okay?
Hey, wait a minute! How do we get ourselves into these messes, pal?
Oh man, right off the bat, we are already getting a lot of plot here. So yep, we have been whisked away to the land of Avalar, far away from Spyro's homeland where the dragons rule. And we got ourselves a new foe to face in Ripto. So actually starting things off not in one of the hub worlds, but one of the main levels of the game. So this area is Glimmer. And there's quite a bit to see and talk about as we're going through this place. Just give me a second here. Just want to quickly make sure things are looking good on my setup. Yeah, looks like things are fine. Alright, first thing we want to do is approach this little guy.
Spyro! Welcome to Glimmer! Unfortunately for us, a mob of lizards just showed up and started stealing all of our gems. Can you stop them?
So one of the neat things with the levels here in Spyro 2 compared to Spyro 1 is we actually have NPCs all throughout these areas that will be giving us various quests when it comes to dealing with the various threats around here. But for now, I'm going to avoid that and collect these shiny little baubles. These are gems, and they are one of the main collectibles we're going to be getting in our adventures here in Avalar. They come in a couple different varieties based on their colors, with each color being more valuable. So definitely keep an eye out for all of the different gems throughout the worlds. Of course, this is a 100% run of this game, so we're going to be getting every single gem we can. So now let's start dealing with enemies. Spyro is a dragon, so of course he can shoot fire from his mouth in order to strike at enemies. Now's a good time to mention that this is technically going to be a New Game Plus run of this game. As you can tell from Spyro's fire breath, he's able to shoot a fireball all across the screen. Yeah, that's not something you get by default. That is a reward you get by 100%ing the game and going to one of the last possible places that you can in Spyro 2. I do not know how to turn it off, so we're going to be playing with Spyro having Super Flame for the entirety of this adventure. But you know, that's perfectly serviceable. There's a lot of different objectives we can do throughout this game that require Super Flame to be able to complete, but I'll try to go through this game in about the way that you would naturally go across in a normal run of this game. So besides using his fire breath to dispatch with enemies and hazards, Spyro can also charge and ram things with his horns. Quite nice if you want to quickly break an item like these pots over here in order to get plenty of gems. And also just bash away enemies in general. Then of course we got this big threat over here. Our charge is not going to be effective against large enemies, so instead, you want to flame them. See, I definitely like the different methods of attack that Spyro has. Between the charge attack, where he strikes enemies with his horns and his fire breath, they definitely make use of what you'd expect a dragon to be able to do when it comes to combat in these games. So I quite like it. It's got a pretty effective move set for dealing with most of the threats we're going to see here in our adventure. So now let's head over this way.
Hi, Spyro. I'm a friend of Elora's, and she asked me to help you out. Whenever you find me, I'll remember your progress. Like this.
So Zoe here is a very
That
helpful
means
fairy.
that if you get into trouble, I'll return you to this place. See you around.
Zoe will not only save your game every time you get near her, but she also serves as a checkpoint. So should you ever lose a life, you will be quickly warped back to the last time you encountered Zoe. Now, life in this game is quite interesting. You see the little dragonfly that's hovering around Spyro? His name is Sparx, and he basically serves as Spyro's life force. As long as Sparx is yellow, he is at maximum health, and he will gradually change colors every time you take damage until he eventually disappears, in which case the next hit that Spyro takes will take a life, so be careful with that.
We gem cutters are a bit too short to climb these ladders, and it looks like you are too. After you learn to climb, come back to Glimmer to see me.
So this is an introduction to a mechanic that I'm a little half and half about regarding this game. And that is not being able to access certain areas until we get upgrades later on in the game. So for the time being, we cannot climb ladders, which means we're not going to be able to complete everything we can do in the first world here. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but not really the end of the world. Alright, we're able to take out that big guy. Just want to grab as much of the goodies as we can over here before we go talk to the next major NPC who's going to be a part of this adventure, whether you like it or not. Just grab that last gem there, and let's go talk to this guy.
You must be the dragon everyone's talking about. Well, dragon or not, I'm afraid there is a small fee to open the bridge. It will cost you 100 of your gems to cross.
Some money bags here. He will show up in a couple levels and basically gatekeep you from being able to progress until you pay him with the gems that you collect all throughout the levels. I kind of like this inclusion because it adds more incentive to collect the gems all throughout the levels. And obviously he's going to be useful for some other things going forward. But at the same time, I just cannot stand this smug, greedy, capitalist Ursine constantly blocking off progress just because he wants to make a quick buck. But we still have to pay the toll to get across, so here's your payment.
Thank you, Mr. Dragon. Spyro, was it? You can now use the bridge whenever you want, free of charge. I hope we meet again when you have even more gems.
Just like a capitalist, only caring about riches. But yeah, this is not the last we're gonna see of money bags.
To get a quick look around, press the action button. Try using action to look around this cave.
That's a good hit from Zoe. By pressing the Y button, you can get a look at your surroundings and see quite a few different things that might be out of reach to you. Very helpful if you want to spot any gems that might be hiding around. So of course we can see some gems over there. We could technically grab those now since we have the super flame, but I'm not going to. We're going to come back to this level much later on, so we'll save that for later. And after beating past
Spyro,
this guy...
thanks for helping us fight off the lizards. Please take this talisman of Glimmer as a sign of our gratitude.
So by making it all the way here, we receive a talisman. Those are pretty
This
important
magic portal
rewards
next
for
to me will take
completion
you to
here.
Summer Forest, one of the home worlds of Avalar.
So all throughout the levels here that we are going to see, we have talismans that we are able to collect. And those are going to be very instrumental for making progress in our adventure. So definitely make sure you pick up the talismans before you are done with these areas. So now that we picked up the talisman, we could take the portal here in order to head on off to the hub world. However, there's some more stuff that we should be able to do here in Glimmer that I want to take care of. And this is mainly so that I can pick up some more gems, because I know these are going to be integral to what we're going to be doing quite a bit later. So yeah, all throughout here, just want to bash as many of these guys as we can. So you may notice those little orbs that come out of enemies when you kill them. That's a new element to Spyro 2, where instead of enemies dropping gems when they die, they will instead drop these glowing orbs, which can be used in order to power these things over here.
Great!
The Superfly power-up is active, and you can restart our gem lamps. Flame all the lamps quickly, and the big gem lamp will light. The power-up will give you enough magic to fly for a short time.
So, but talking to this guy, we get ourselves an optional mission that we are able to do here to get a quite nice reward. So by hitting that, well, by going through that gate, we are now able to gain a power. So Super Flight basically gives us the ability to temporarily fly across the map. It is definitely very useful for traversing areas and for completing objectives.
Thanks for helping me light the lamp, Spyro. A fairy gave me this orb, but I like gems better. You take it instead.
And by completing side quests in this game, we are able to acquire orbs. These are also a very integral collectible for us to get. So we are going to get every single orb that we are able to in this adventure. And trust me when I say, there is quite a few orbs that we need to get. This is quite the sizable game in a number of aspects. I forget exactly what the length of this game is compared to Spyro 1. I mean, there's only a couple hub worlds in this compared to how there are in Spyro 1. But, yeah, for the most part, this one can still be pretty lengthy, especially with how the different worlds operate here in this game. Now, there's some areas we should be able to easily reach using our Super Flight here. One ahead just over here. Then we can grab all of these goodies that are up on this ledge. So yeah, whenever you obtain a power like Super Flight, definitely try to reach areas you wouldn't have been able to reach before. It is an excellent way to find collectibles. In fact, I think there might be something else we can get over here. Oh yeah, also forgot to mention one of Spyro's other abilities is that he is able to glide using his wings. Sadly, Spyro is not an adult dragon yet, so he's only able to glide normally. But this power-up here gives him the ability to temporarily fly, which, you know, is always nice to see. And if we head over here...
These little lizards have eaten my entire crop of gems. I've tried hitting them with rocks, but they're too fast for me. You can try using one of my rocks. If you have any questions, just ask me.
So now we got a mission here in order to take out these lizards. So one of the new mechanics of this game is that we are able to spit projectiles at enemies. So yeah, if you don't have the Super Flame, because clearly I do, those projectiles are quite helpful for taking care of distant enemies. There is a bit of a lock-on with this mechanic, which is quite helpful for dealing with some of these pests. So yep, we just need to follow Bouncer around to where the lizards are.
You can spit pretty far, Spyro. See if you can spit all the way to the lizard.
Can do. If you want to precisely lock onto enemies, then using the look feature is a good way in order to precisely aim at targets.
To hit that lizard up high, you'll have to aim. Press the action button to aim, then press the attack button to spit.
Yep, kind of going into what I said before. There we go. So just got a few more to take care of. So now this path is going to take us back into the caves. I quite like the aesthetic of Glimmer, how we got this mining area full of caverns that are just chock full of these massive gems. It is just such a cool looking area. Where is this guy? There you are. Take that, you little pest. Alright, and Bouncer is going to take us to our next target. Now, I do want to say with my experience of playing the Reignited Trilogy version of this game, I have encountered a number of glitches while playing this version of the game, and hopefully we're not going to encounter too many throughout this adventure. But for the most part, the NPC AI is pretty good with the pathfinding it does. But you do want to watch out in case things get a little tricky at points. If anything like that happens, then simply exit out of the game and reset, and things should be fine. Alright, this last guy is up here on this gazebo. I'm just gonna super flame you.
Hey! You've saved my crop of gems from the lizards! Here, take this orb. Some girl with wings dropped it here yesterday.
And by helping him out, we get another orb. Now, if we go into the pause menu, we can check our guidebook, which gives us a detailed information on all the collectibles we have currently obtained in a given world. So for Glimmer, we're about 83% done this area. That actually seems like a pretty good stopping point here. Managed to acquire a large amount of gemstones and completed most of our objectives around here. Yeah, as you can see over there, there's yet another superpower that we can get over there once we eventually have the ability to climb. Trust me when I say it's going to be a while before we can do that. So, with all of our current objectives taken care of in Glimmer, it's time to head through the exit portal. Not bad.
Oh no! Oh, hello. We didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves before. My name is Elora.
Hi. I'm Spyro. What are you, some kind of goat?
I'm a fawn, you dork.
Oh, sorry.
Did you meet the gem cutters in Glimmer?
Yeah, they gave me a souvenir, too. They called it a talisman.
They gave you a talisman?
What, is it special? I just stuck it in the guidebook you gave me.
Well, there are 14 talismans in Avalar, and they are all magical. If you can collect enough of them, they can be used to defeat Ripto.
Ooh, how convenient.
Hunter, where have you been?
Oh, I got a little lost.
Spyro's gonna help us collect the talismans.
I am?
He is.
Spyro, look. There's no way you can get to Dragon Shores right now. Ripto and his monsters have taken over the castle here in the Summer Forest. You're going to have to go to Avalar's worlds and convince the inhabitants to give you their talisman. You can keep them in your guidebook.
Hey, I could do that. Why doesn't the dragon just torch Ripto?
Hunter, you can't even keep track of your running shoes. How can we trust you with 14 talismans?
Gotcha there.
If you come across any orbs, they're important too. But I'll tell you about them later.
Okay, no problem. I'll collect a few talismans, give Ripto the old hot foot, and be in Dragon Shores by lunchtime.
So yep, we got ourselves our main objective. Ripto, the villain on this particular adventure, is taking over the realms of Avalar, and it's our duty to stop him. So we gotta visit the various worlds around Avalar, collect their talismans, and then we should have the power we need to stop him. I gotta say, in this year in particular, it feels good to take down a diminutive orange tyrant, you know? But enough about that. So over here in Summer Forest, this is the first of our main hub worlds in this area. So what I like about this game is that the hub worlds here are all themed around the seasons, with Summer Forest, of course, being summer themed. It's got just a very nice, lush and green environment over here. It feels so good. So yeah, we also got gems to collect in the hub worlds, and there will also be orbs that we can find around here too. But we're not going to worry too much about completing the hub world for the time being. We'll just grab any gems that we see, but we're not going to get everything in this area on our first visit. So just want to make that explicitly clear as we go forward.
Spyro, this is the homeworld called Summer Forest. There are portals to many of the Avalar worlds around here. Unfortunately, Ripto has taken over the castle, and we need your help. Start by retrieving the talismans from each of the worlds you visit.
Got it. Also want to say, I really love Elora. Her design is just so cute, and when you compare this to her original model back on the PlayStation version of Ripto's Rage, yeah, vast improvement. She is just really adorable, has got a lot of good characterization in her expressions and movements. God, I love her so much. One of my favorite Spyro characters. And of course we saw quite a few others a little earlier in our adventure. So we're gonna quickly ignore the main progress over here so that we can jump down here. Yeah, you can expect to find gems all over the place in these worlds. So you definitely want to search high and low if you want to get all the collectibles. Because trust me, getting a good supply of these things are going to be really important. Oh, hey, we got Hunter
Spyro.
here.
Ripto smashed this bridge, so I guess you'll have to glide across it. Press the jump button, then press jump again while you're still in the air to glide.
So Hunter here is going to give us some instructions on some of our controls. As I said before, Spyro is able to glide using his wings. Again, he's not a fully grown dragon, so he cannot fly, merely glide. But, you know, still perfectly serviceable at this point in our adventure. And of course, in contrast to how things were in Spyro 1, we are actually able to swim on the surface of water, which is definitely a nice improvement to Spyro's moveset here. We have quite a few areas that are going to involve exploring water, so it's definitely quite useful. Also, you may have noticed that there's a couple gems under the water that we cannot reach at the moment. Yeah, about that.
Sorry, Spyro. I'd love to teach you how to swim underwater, but not as much as I'd love to take your treasure.
So yeah, we have upgrades to our moveset that we're able to get by talking to moneybags in the hub worlds. So here in Summer Forest, we can learn to swim by giving moneybags 500 gems. We do not currently have that amount, as you can see by the top corner of the screen. So we got ourselves a bit of exploring we need to do among the various hub areas here. Also, that jar is made of metal. Normally, you're not able to use your flame on metal hazards, so you need to charge at them with your horns in order to break them. However, the super flame is actually capable of breaking metal, so that is a nice thing that you're able to do if you have the super flame. But there's still quite a bit we can see around this hub before we get started on the main areas. So we can see that there is an orb symbol above Hunter's head, which means that we'll want to talk to him.
Hi, Spyro. You look like you're pretty agile. Let's try putting it to a test. See if you can get up this first step. Press the jump button and hold it down to get more hang time.
It's got ourselves a little tutorial here, thanks to Hunter, teaching us how to use our movement options.
Now to make this next jump, you'll have to glide. Press the jump button, then press jump again at the top of your jump to get the maximum glide distance.
I've already had a bit of experience with flight, but yep, that shows us how to get across there.
Nice job. Now try to do a hover. Press the jump button, then press jump again to glide. When you reach the end of your glide, press the action button to hover. Hovering will give you extra height and distance.
So this is something that I am surprised was not in Spyro 1. This was an addition to Spyro 2. So when you glide, you're able to hit the Y button in order to do a quick hop up in order to have a better way of getting up to where you need to go. This is so freaking helpful when it comes to platforming in this game. Again, why was this not in Spyro 1? It is so damn helpful.
Very good. Now for the hardest leap of all. You'll have to give this one everything you've got. Get a walking start, jump, glide, and hover just before you get to the edge of the platform. Don't forget to press forward on the left stick when you hover.
Sure thing. Got one last jump to make. using all of the skills we learned.
Wow, you're a pretty good athlete. If I hadn't lost my running shoes, I'd take you on for real. For now, here's an orb for your collection.
Thank you for that, Hunter. Now, to go briefly into Hunter here, I quite like him as a character. Not as much as Elora, but definitely like his design. He definitely has that kind of overconfidence, but he's not entirely, you know, the most confident in himself. You know, he's actually a little bit of a timid guy, and hey, Sparx, what are you doing there? But yeah, I think he's a pretty decent character, and throughout this game, he's actually going to serve as a bit of a side quest magnet as we're on our adventures. He's definitely going to help us out with a couple of things as we're going through this game. Usually, Hunter is going to be involved in tracking down orbs. So, over here in the first part of the Summer Forest, we have 2 areas that we're able to go to immediately.
Sparx, the dragonfly following you around is your health indicator, Spyro. The brighter he is, the more hit points you have.
Yeah, I already mentioned that before, Zoe. So we have 2 different areas we can go to at the start of our mission. Now, some levels in this game, as you saw with Glimmer, are going to require upgrades that we get from money bags in order for us to complete certain objectives. So, at this point in time, I would not recommend going to Idle Springs at the moment. What I would rather go to is Colossus, over here across the pond. So let's head into our second level. Oh dear. So yeah, that's also a neat little addition to Spyro 2 here. Every time you enter a world, there's a cutscene that provides a little bit of context to what exactly is going on in this world. And a lot of them can get pretty grim, I will say that much.
A Yeti has been rampaging around our home, but we've managed to trap him by shutting all the doors. If you talk to the other brothers, they will open the gates and guide you to him.
So over here in Colossus, we got ourselves a mountain temple of sorts. We have a lot of different things that we'll want to do. First of all, you want to take out these goats, as they are some of our main enemies in this area. We saw briefly that one of the goats managed to escape getting eaten by the Yeti, which, you know, just, God, that is so grim.
By concentrating, I should be able to open this door for you.
So to maneuver through these areas, we gotta talk to these guys. I think they're supposed to be monks over here, as this area is meant to be a temple. So that is something to keep in mind as we're going through this area. Whenever you see those monks, definitely talk to them. Also, you may have noticed there's a little bit of a hockey motif to this area. As you can see on the bridge, they have hockey sticks, and these statues and even flags feature hockey sticks on them. So yeah, Colossus definitely has quite a bit of theming going on here. So this is a temple area dedicated to hockey of all things. You know, it's pretty funny.
Who needs a key when you know how to chant like this?
This guy is going to open up the path for us, enabling us to get over
Enemies
here.
like those yaks are too big to be charged. Your flame attack should easily take care of large enemies.
Thank you for that, Zoe. So, of course, as she said, we want to use our flame on large enemies. So, yeah, you can see that I took a hit there. And when we took that damage, Sparx changed his color. If you want to get Sparx healthy again, simply take care of these small creatures that you'll see all throughout this area, as those enemies will drop butterflies, which Sparx will then eat to replenish his health.
Each time you defeat an enemy, it will release a spirit particle. The spirit particles will activate the power-up in that world. If a power-up is inactive, you need to defeat more enemies.
Good advice there, Zoe. It's gotta wait a while until we manage to collect 11 power orbs. So we definitely got some more enemies we got to take out. Also, a nice little thing regarding Sparx that I forgot to mention earlier is that he is very useful when it comes to collecting gems. As when you approach a gem that's on the ground, Sparx will just immediately collect it for you, and that's very helpful. If you ever get low enough on health that Sparx is destroyed, then you have to manually pick up the gem yourself, so, you know, watch out for that. Ah, that is quite impressive there, my good man. So we'll definitely want to ride the pillar if we're going to progress farther through this area. And another nice thing with Sparx that I do also want to mention is that if we push down on the left stick, Sparx will actually home in on an area where you can get gems. So he basically also serves as a radar telling you where to collect gems. This can be really helpful if you're exploring an area and you are like one gem short of being able to get all the collectibles you need. So this was originally a feature introduced in Spyro 3, but in all the games in the Reignited Trilogy, you have this ability on Sparx by default. So that is definitely very useful to us in this adventure. Definitely make use of Sparx's abilities, as he is so damn helpful in getting everything you can in this adventure. But now it's time for us to face the Yeti.
Even though I'm a vegetarian, I think you should torch that Yeti. He's pretty tough, though. In fact, I'm not sure you're up to it.
I think we'll do pretty well. Let's do this. Oh, damn.
I thought the Yeti was tougher than that. I guess he was all bark. Ruff, ruff. Anyway, I was just guarding our sacred talisman to make sure the Yeti didn't eat it.
Well, thank you for that, Brother Ned. And with that, we got ourselves our next talisman. All right, that is very good. So we could head back to Summer Forest. However, we actually have everything we need in order to complete Colossus. So we are going to be exploring the rest of this area and take care of all the remaining objectives we can do. So want to head through this window here in order to access this more remote section of the map. And over here we got ourselves some ice. So ice is a bit of a tricky mechanic in this game. You don't have too much control on ice and you'll just slide around. You can't even jump when you're on ice, which is, you know, kind of awkward. But we're not going to worry too much about that. After getting across here and collecting all the gems we need, it's time for a mini-game.
Ah, Spyro, welcome. We have found that hockey is a peaceful and calming sport. Would you like to join in a match against our goalkeeper?
From my experience, hockey is the farthest thing from peaceful. But we will try anyway.
You have 2 minutes to score 5 goals in the red goal.
So we got ourselves a mini game here where we're going to be playing a round of hockey. This mission is quite simple, all things considered. We just have to grab the hockey puff, which we can grab in our mouth, and then spit it out to score the goal. Yeah, this one is pretty simple, all things considered. Also makes me just think back to some of my earlier days of back when I'd be on the ice, and I don't really remember playing hockey, but, you know, I did do a bit of ice skating when I was a kid, but obviously haven't done anything like that in years. Also, last time I was basically in a skating rink, I ended up breaking my arm, so yeah. I'm definitely in no rush to return to the ice anytime soon. But yeah, it's a pretty decent minigame, all things considered. This one is pretty simple, but trust me, things will be a bit trickier as we go later into this. Alright, let's position ourselves and fire our shot. There we go.
Well done. Have this.
So by completing that mission, we get ourselves another orb. Very good.
Would you like to try a game of one-on-one?
Sure thing.
The first to score 5 goals wins. You are shooting at the red goal. Off you go.
So this time we have a more aggressive game here. So we got ourselves a rival player that we gotta go up against. We also have a goalie defending our side of the rink. So yep, you can easily disarm the other player by breathing fire on him, which is certainly useful for being able to score the goals you need. I don't think you're able to stun the goalie though, so definitely remember that. But yeah, as long as you're able to get the better of the other player here, is this big polar bear guy. It's very fitting to see a polar bear over here. Yeah, this one really isn't too bad. It just keep up with using the flame and you should be pretty good here. Woo! Very good. This also reminded me a lot of some of the cartoons I used to watch as a kid, because having grown up in Canada, that naturally means that we have seen a lot of cartoons that feature hockey matches in their storylines.
Well done. Have this. If you stare at it long enough, you might not see anything.
So by watching those cartoons, I have definitely gained just a lot of vicarious knowledge of hockey over the years, just watching the matches I'd see on those shows. And after completing this minigame, we just see these players are going to just keep going at it with the hockey. You know, good for them. Everyone needs hobbies. But I also want to show, after we completed that mission, we also got a skill point by doing a perfect match of the hockey game without letting the opponent score against us. So skill points are a special thing you're able to get by completing certain objectives in levels. However, I am not going to be going after the skill points, as I just don't think they're wholly necessary. Our main objectives is going to be going after the collectibles, but we don't need to worry about the skill points. So now we've taken care of that, we should be able to head up to the higher levels of this area. So yep, now we got the power-up for this area, which gives us a high jump. Definitely useful for reaching some more remote locations of the map. And then we can head over here to find the professor.
Thank goodness you scared that evil spirit away, but now it will hide in the statues. If you were to flame all 10 statues, I'm sure you would chase it away for good.
So the professor over here was actually the one helping out Elora and Hunter with trying to summon Spyro to Avalar. He is also going to be showing up in a handful of levels in order to help us out with objectives. In this case, he has asked us to deal with this evil spirit that is in this area. So for this objective, we needed to track down the statues all throughout this map in order to take care of the evil spirit that is controlling them. And was able to hit that rocket over there with our flame in order to get it to strike that metal container which contained those gems we needed. So yeah, definitely watch out for those rockets, because they are quite useful for taking care of things that you wouldn't normally be able to break unless you have the super flame. So I don't think there's any other statues over here we gotta worry about, so let's head back over this way. This mission is gonna take us all over Colossus, so we'll definitely want to be focused while we're going over here. Also pick up some extra gems this way. And now we're gonna wanna head over here to get at some of our next objectives. Of course, we got some enemies to flame, but after you get enough orbs in order to be able to activate all of the power gates, you don't really need to worry too much about killing enemies after that. But at the very least, we're able to take care of a good chunk of the enemies around here. So hopefully we don't need to worry about those anymore. So now our objective is to go all throughout this area and dispel the evil spirit that's possessing these statues. Yeah, this one's definitely taking us all over the place. But we should be pretty good at the moment. We got all the ones at the early sections of the map, so I think we're gonna want to head back into the temple over here for our next objective. So yep, there's a possessed statue over here we can get. And the next one should be in one of the upper levels.
Remember Hunter's advice.
Yes, Zoe, I already know. Okay, so where is this next one? Ah, so we can go up here onto the roof of the building that the Yeti was occupying in order to access this icy cave, which also has some statues we can get, or at least one. Okay, and for doing that, we were able to get the next... We were able to collect all of the gems in this area. Very good. Alright, I made sure to grab the ones over there, I believe. And there's one more statue we have to hit, but I don't know exactly... Oh, there it is! It's right over here behind that building.
Well done, Spyro. You've scared the evil spirit away. Why don't you take this? I borrowed it from the temple. They don't need it.
Thank you for that, Professor. And by helping him out, we were able to get ourselves another orb. And that should also be the last orb we need in this level. And by doing that, we were able to 100% complete Colossus. We have now completed every objective we can do in this area, so it's about time that we head back to the hub world. Let's go. there is so many characters dying in this flippin' game. And yet this game is rated E for everyone. For that, we managed to complete Colossus, the first world in our adventure that we were able to 100% finish. And by completing that, we have more than enough gems to learn our next skill.
Hello there, Spyro. Would you like to learn to swim underwater?
Yes, I do.
Great. Okay. When you jump in the water, you can use your left stick to move around the surface. Use the charge button to dive underwater. When you're underwater, use the jump button to paddle and charge button to charge.
Thank you for that, Moneybags. So now that we have that ability, we can now travel underwater, opening up our options for exploring areas. So you'll definitely want to be thorough in investigating these underwater sections of the map. Just make sure you're able to find every possible thing you need in these areas. There's gems all around, and by checking with Sparx, you should be able to find out where the hidden goodies are. And we can also travel to this more remote section of the map by taking that pathway underwater, getting us to an area we can collect a good amount of gems here. And then over here, we should be able to access more sections of this area. So we got these switches over here that will raise and lower certain doors. I want to remember this we're going
You're well
through.
on your way, Spyro. Keep collecting talismans to help us defeat Ripto before he can take over Avalar. Oh, and keep collecting those orbs, too. The professor thinks they will help you get back to the dragon world.
Definitely good to remember that, Zoe.
Your game camera is currently in passive mode. This mode requires you to manually control the camera. If you like, I can change the game camera to use active mode. In active mode, the camera adjusts itself based on your movement.
So I'm going to keep things in
Okay,
passive
I won't
mode for
change
now.
it. Remember, you can change the camera mode yourself by using the options menu.
So yeah, that's definitely a good hint there if you want to get an idea on how you can control the different camera settings in this game. Considering this is a remake of a PlayStation 1 game, I definitely like the options of being able to change how you want the camera to be positioned. It's definitely quite helpful. So we got Elora over here we can talk to.
I saw something shiny at the top of this wall. You could probably get it, but you'll have to learn how to climb first.
Yeah, we're not getting this ability until much later. Moneybags may have taught us to swim, but learning to climb is going to cost us extra. So, yeah, I'm going to want to hold off on that until later. But for now, we can access these other sections of the castle in order to collect some more gems. And we're going to need those because look who is back over here.
Spyro, you see this wall here? I bet you're dying to know what's on the other side. If only I had a few more gems, I might be able to remember how to lower the wall.
So this time we gotta pay him 400 gems to lower the wall. Okay.
Ah, yes. The sparkling beauty of those gems seems to have jogged my memory.
So that gives us access to a new level we can explore. There's a part of me who wants to try to do a minimalist run of this game eventually, because I'm always in completionist mode whenever I play these classic games. Just anytime I know I'm able to complete an objective, I tend to do it. But yeah, it would be quite interesting to try to do a minimalist run of this game. We can see Elora back over this way.
Hi, Spyro. This talisman door will only open if you have all 6 Summer Forest talismans. Once the door is open, Ripto and Crush will be waiting in the dungeon.
So yep, in order to progress over to where we can find Ripto, we are going to need to collect the talismans from the different levels here in Summer Forest. So yeah, that is our incentive to collecting all the talismans, as they are necessary in order to do that.
Nice work, Spyro! The orbs you're carrying have activated the special portal. You won't find a talisman in Ocean Speedway, but if you're fast, you'll get lots of treasure. Have fun!
So this opens up the path to Ocean Speedway. So that is going to be a special level. As Elora has said, there is no talisman we can get in that area. However, there is special reasons why we want to go into that particular level. But for now, we got ourselves a bit of a puzzle here involving this door. We want to glide over to that windowsill so that we can grab a hidden orb over here. Very good. Okay, so we've explored basically everything we can around Summer Forest for the time being. Besides one other thing we can do over back by the portal leading to Glimmer. So we're going to be heading back over there. In the meantime, what is some other things that we can discuss? Well, I've been having a pretty nice day off. I had like the first shift that I had to do in 2026 yesterday. And, oh man, that was definitely quite a busy one. So obviously we had New Year's Day earlier this week, and that one was definitely an interesting experience. On New Year's Eve, I was actually playing The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords with my friends Master Starman and Elite Four Elijah, and it was definitely a very fun time. They were also streaming the playthrough of that particular adventure over on their channels, so you can go check them out on YouTube if you want to see that particular run. It was definitely a fun time, because I never got to experience Four Swords back when I was a kid. Despite the fact that I did have the Game Boy Advance version of A Link to the Past, which came included with that particular game. Alright, so we can see we definitely got most of the collectibles here in Summer Forest. We're gonna need to wait a while before we can 100% this hub area, but for the time being, we are basically done over here. So for the next area we're going to go in our adventure, we're going to be heading to Idle Springs. I recommend waiting until you get the swimming ability before you visit this area. Let's go. Man, dude was caught being horny in 4K.
Spyro, the idols we were carving have come to life. They've locked us out of our temples and stolen our food.
So now we got ourselves Idle Springs. This area, we got ourselves some tiki idols to deal with. We want to take care of these guys in order to open the way forward. However, there is going to be a lot of other things we can do around here that's going to be pretty integral to getting our objectives done in this area. So we got ourselves plenty of gems that we're able to get. And I can also see this buddy over here. So normally this would be an item that requires using something else in order to get. However, we should be able to get this like right now by using our Super Flame. Doing that, we were able to break that apart, allowing us to get all of the goodies inside. Like I said, there is another way you're able to get that particular container, but for now, I just wanted to blast it apart so we can collect some more gems. So yeah, this area is why I recommended waiting until you get the swimming ability, because there is tons of stuff you can get in the water here. It's going to be very integral to our mission. Okay, this could be a bit tricky for us to get up here. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to get most of these gems here in this current position. Alright, we might have to come back for those gems a bit later. But yeah, I want to be in the water because we have this path over here we can take. And by heading all the way up here, we can access a very elusive chamber. We got ourselves another objective.
I've been locked in here with all our tools, and the giant idleheads won't let the workers in unless we can solve the 3 puzzles they've given us. The first puzzle is to turn all these blocks yellow. If you have trouble, come back and talk to me.
So we got ourselves a puzzle here to simply turn all of the segments here the same color. Honestly, quite easy.
Wow, Spyro, you did it! I knew you could do it. Now, meet me at the pond for the next challenge.
So Foreman Bud here is going to give us all kinds of objectives we got to complete around this area. So I want to dive down into the water, and we're going to head back up here to the surface. So now we can find you over here.
This idol says he's hungry and won't be satisfied until he's swallowed 10 fish. He's got a sensitive stomach, so watch what kind of fish you feed him.
So we gotta flame the fish that leap out of the water to feed the idol. However, the idol is also very picky, so you gotta feed it a certain variety of fish. It does not like red fish. Okay, good to know. So we will only eat the blue and yellow fish. So simply wait for those ones to jump up and blast them with your flame. Yeah, this is definitely a pretty simple mission. It kind of reminds me of another mission in... Whoop. That was bad. Yeah, he actually will spit out some of the fish he's already swallowed if you put a red one in there, so definitely watch out. Like I was saying, this reminds me of another mission in the game Jak and Daxter, the precursor... Sorry. Alright, we are definitely not doing too hot here. Yeah, this one really isn't too bad. Just wait for the correct color fish to come up, and you should be good. Need one more, and we are good.
Okay, Spyro, just one more puzzle to go. I'll meet you over by the colored stones for your final challenge.
So this next one, we're going to need to venture deeper into the map in order to get this one. So we're going to be doing a bit of exploring around here. Buddy, what are you doing to yourself? Man, what a little creep. So some of the enemies around here are going to have metal shields in order to protect themselves. Normally, flame attacks are not good against these guys, so you need to ram into them in order to deal damage. However, we don't have to worry about that because we have the super flame. So, you know, that's a thing we're able to use to take care of those guys.
Those metal shields are making enemies invulnerable to your flame attack. If you press and hold the charge button, you can defeat them with your charge attack.
Thank you, Zoe. I already just explained that. Dude, why are these guys giving themselves brain damage? That just doesn't seem right. But yeah, we got a bunch more of these tikis to deal with before we are done here. Blast them with either your horns or a charge attack, and we should be good. And also be sure to collect all of the different gems we can find around here. So I think that is most of the gems we need around here. Yeah, Sparx seems to say so. Let's grab the rest over here, and we can move on. So I like this little path over here. We got these bioluminescent things over here underneath the trees. Yeah, just kind of cool, like the aesthetic of this area.
To aim the camera left or right, use the right stick.
Yes, thank you, Zoe. I already know this. Yes, we got these big guys that will try to use some of the guys here as a shield. So that's why you want to carefully aim. Oh, and over here we got ourselves
If you jump on
Foreman
these
Bud.
stones in the correct order, you will solve the puzzle. I only know what the first one is. It's up to you to figure the rest out.
So now we got to jump on these stones in the correct order. And I do not particularly know what path we got to take here.
Let's...
Yeah, this one's tricky. I know that the star is the first one we got to do. Nope, not that one. I was thinking it has to do something with a pattern here, but I can't exactly name it. I gotta start with the star, but then... Do we also have to hit you because you're an octagon shape? Then... Alright, but that one's a square, and none of the other platforms are a square. And that one is not right. Yeah, I really don't get what the main pattern supposed to do here is. I'm gonna do that, and... Okay, I think I know the final pattern here. I want to start with you. Then these ones. Then we do the moon and the circle. And there we go.
Nice job, Spyro. You're pretty smart for a dragon. All I have to give you is this shiny thing I found in our toolbox.
So by completing all those challenges, we got ourselves another orb. Very good. But also we're back over here, and our main objective is back over here. So yeah, we got ourselves a bit of backtracking we need to do in order to get through this area. But no biggie, we've done plenty of this before. So what's something else I wanted to mention? I've just been kind of taking it easy a bit since this is a day off from work. And I've definitely been playing quite a bit of Genshin Impact these days. And I actually managed to complete the most recent Battle Pass. So I got a lot of good rewards from doing that. However, haven't really had the best luck in Genshin at the moment. As with the current wishes that I was able to do, like yesterday, oh man, I had some pretty bad luck. I mainly got weapons, and the only character I managed to pull was someone who I already had. So, yeah, it's definitely a bit disappointing.
Spyro, you're pretty tough. If you ever want a permanent job, we've got a place for you here. But for the moment, I want you to have this talisman.
Thank you there, Max. And with that, we get ourselves another talisman. Very good. But we got ourselves some more objectives we can do around Idle Springs. Especially now that we have the... So since we have the ability to swim, obviously, we should be able to 100% this area. So we got ourselves this waterfall here that leads back over this way. So I don't think there's anything we need to worry about getting over here. There were just a couple gems that we needed. But what we want to do is head over this way. And there's going to be some stuff along the higher path here that we got to take care of if we're going to get all the gems in this area. Plus, I know of at least one more orb that we can try to get. So we'll definitely want to take care of this one. Yeah, we can take care of this mission next, and then we'll go back to focusing on collecting the gemstones. So we got ourselves a new power here, and this is the Supercharge. This allows us to run very quickly and be able to break apart things with our horns that we couldn't before. And by doing
Look
that...
at that! The hula girl's ring dance blew up that idol like a Roman candle. Now I can pursue that dancing career I've dreamed of. Take this orb. It could help you go places.
So yeah, by smashing apart those pillars, we were able to help out this lady here, getting ourselves yet another orb. And that is the last orb we need in Idle Springs. Very good. So now we just gotta focus on gem collection, which obviously we are missing quite a bit here. But it shouldn't be too bad to gather what we need. Want to think about what else I want to talk about in a bit, because it's definitely been quite a few things that have been going on. And obviously there are some topics I'm going to refrain from talking about, just for my own mental little stability. But yeah, what's something that we could talk about in a positive way? Well, yeah, besides playing through Genshin Impact, I've also been making some good progress in Pokemon Legends ZA, which I also want to say it's crazy how we're in 2026 now, after Legends ZA was basically delayed for an entire year, so that game could receive some technical polish, and also get ready for a Switch 2 release. So I definitely suspect that pretty soon we are going to eventually get to see some news regarding a new Pokemon game later this year. But anyway, there is that missile over there. That is what we needed in order to gather these gems over here. And by doing that, we managed to 100% Idle Springs. Managed to gather all of the gems and the orbs that we need. So now we gotta move up to the next area. Aw man, very happy with the amount of progress we are making so far. I've already completed half of the levels that we need to in this area before we're ready to take on our first boss. So it's definitely quite good to hear here. Aw, he didn't want to attack him, he just wanted to roast his weenie. Yeah, I definitely love the cutscenes that play at the start and end of the different levels. They certainly add a lot to the theming of these areas. And also definitely showcase the personalities of both the helpful NPCs and the enemies. It's definitely very fun. I said this before, but I really do like Spyro 2. It was a game I had kind of mixed opinions on a couple years ago, but nowadays I think this game is amazing. Just a step up from the first game in basically every way. I mean, there are a few structural issues I have with this particular game, but we'll say that for a little bit later once we get a little deeper into the adventure. So with our current time, I think we have more than enough time to take care of another level, so let's go to Hurricos. Wow, what a jerk. So over here in Hurricos, we got quite the interesting area here.
We've always had trouble with the gear grinders, but now they've set up force fields to separate us. If you find diodes, you can use them to turn off the force fields. I think there's a diode around here somewhere, but my eyesight isn't what it used to be.
So over here, we got ourselves an electric-themed area. So we got ourselves enemies that use electricity, as well as mechanisms that require electricity to operate. So we're definitely going to be making use of a good deal of our abilities here. So we want to collect the various diodes that we can find around here, and then use them to make progress around here. Got ourselves 2 diodes right now. Just opens up that path there. And there's also a pathway over there we can get. So yeah, this area definitely has some neat theming to it. Gotta help out the Electrolls with dealing with the gear grinders. Which, yeah, I definitely love the variety of the various NPCs we come across throughout this game. Like, there really isn't too many creatures similar to the Electrolls in concept, and I definitely think they're a pretty funny bunch. Another thing you may have noticed throughout this game is, with regards to the voice cast of this particular game, which is quite the nice voice cast overall, but a lot of characters share some familiar VAs that you may recall. So namely characters like Spyro the Professor and obviously the Electrolls are all voiced by Tom Kenny, who you may know as being the main voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah, he definitely has done a lot of good work throughout the Spyro series. And he was also the main VA for Spyro back in the original PlayStation 1 release of Spyro 2. He was not the original VA for Spyro, as that one was actually the VA for Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. So, you know, it's kind of fun how many Nickelodeon characters ended up becoming part of the voice cast in the Spyro series. But yeah, oh, this area. So this one's going to be interesting.
Gear grinder thieves keep taking our lightning stones. If you can replace them all and activate our generator, I'd be very grateful.
So with this mission here, we got to deal with some of the gear grinders here. We got these stones that we can place into the generators. And you want to be pretty quick about this. So our main goal is not actually to fit them into the machines, but to deal with the gear grinders in this area. There's a total of 10 we gotta deal with, and they will naturally pursue the electric stones in order to remove them from machines. So you definitely want to set the traps by placing the elect stones in those machines, and then we can go over here in order to dispatch of these guys when they come to mess with the equipment. It's definitely an interesting mission here, but for the most part it's alright. It's not like we have to worry about turning on all the machines. We just have to install the electric stones to use as bait to get the gear grinders around here. While we're also doing this mission, I also wanted to note, so throughout this adventure, you may have noticed we haven't really been encountering any enemies that seem like they're affiliated with Ripto. Whereas in Spyro 1, like, obviously, most of the enemies we encountered were Norks, which were servants of the main villain, Nasty Nork, in that game. Yeah, for whatever reason, it seems like the different worlds we visit have their own set of problems going on in the story here that is completely unrelated to Ripto and what he and his cronies are doing. It's certainly an interesting choice that they made with the storyline in this game compared to Spyro 1 and especially Spyro 3. But, you know, it's certainly different. Not bad by any means, but it's definitely quite different from what you would expect. Like, there really is no hints that the gear grinders or the tiki idols that we saw before are affiliated with Ripto, or that he had anything to do with these monsters running amok. They're just kind of always been around here and are just causing trouble for the natives of these areas. And it's now our job in order to dispatch of them so that we can gain the talismans from the locals. Yeah, but it's an interesting choice to make here when it comes to progression in the storyline here. If I was doing a game like this, I certainly would have made some enemies that were more explicitly a part of Ripto's forces. But no, pretty much the only guys that are working for Ripto are those big brutes that we saw earlier, Crush and Gulp. So now we dispatch with the gear grinders, we should be good here.
Thanks for getting rid of the gear grinder thieves. Now all you have to do is replace all the lightning stones.
Alright, so now that we've dispatched with those guys, we can place the lightning stones back into the devices. This mission really isn't too bad, since all the stones will naturally be around the generators. Hey, get over here, you. Yeah, something else I wanted to mention is, in particular, I quite like Ripto as an antagonist in this game. Because as we can see going forward, his influence is felt throughout the worlds that we visit, despite the fact that we don't see, like, any minions around here associated with him.
Thank you, Spyro. I found this shiny thing mixed up with our lightning stones. Please, take it as a reward.
And especially compared to Nasty Nork, we are definitely going to see Ripto being more involved as a character throughout the narrative of this game. So, definitely look forward to getting to see more of that little orange troll. Yeah, we got ourselves a lot of different missions to do around here. So we got some more of these diodes we got to collect in order to power machinery around here. Also, we got some various switches we can hit to activate devices. Now, that big windmill I destroyed there, I'm pretty sure that this is normally something you need to destroy with a super flame power you get in this world. However, since I already have the super flame available to us, we're just able to complete that objective right now. And activating those machines is going to be pretty useful to us in a bit. Definitely happy to get that taken care of. Alright, still a few more things we need to worry about in this area. We can also smash this apart with our super flame. That's the only way you'll be able to break those containers, as they're so reinforced that not even charge attacks can break them. And over here, we got a couple more gear grinders to take care of. I also believe that there's a skill point you get if you manage to destroy all the little windmills in this area. So that can be something you want to pursue if you're interested in the skill point for this area. I personally am not going after skill points, but
Spyro,
It's there.
do you see that big building over there? The gear grinders are using it to steal our electricity. Please help us by shutting down the machinery inside.
Don't worry, Cosmo. We'll take care of that. Yeah, in terms of some other stuff that's been going on, I've also been playing a good deal of Pokemon Soul Silver pretty recently, since, you know, one of my favorite content creators has been doing a Let's Play of that game recently, and been having a pretty fun time of it right now. Like, I just managed to get to Cianwood City, and I'm getting myself prepared for some of the other objectives that we're going to be taking care of. And should be a fun time. I'm really quite happy with the team that I have been assembling in this game so far. And I'm definitely very excited for a few of the objectives that we're going to be doing. Especially with trying to raise up my team, because gotten quite a few things done so far.
Thank you, Spyro. You've deactivated all of the electric barriers. We've been guarding this talisman from the gear grinders. Please, take it as a reward.
So from Brainy here, we get ourselves another talisman. I quite like that the talismans all have different appearances that are fitting of the various worlds you get them in. For example, here in Hurricos, the talisman is in the shape of a gear, since there's so much machinery in this area, you know? They definitely play with the theming quite nicely around here, just making all these areas feel just quite distinct. Alright, we need to get ourselves up to a certain area for this next objective. I'm trying to think of where our starting point is gonna be. Because, yeah, we need to get ourselves up a certain path. We might need to go this way. Oh yeah, want to head over this way, I think. Yeah, want to hop onto this building. And this should take us to the higher sections of Hurricos. So now we can go on these turbines, now that the power has been lowered. And we can hop around the upper sections of this factory, allowing us to get to some hard-to-reach areas. Don't believe there's anything over here we need to worry about. Honestly, I do not know why that spot's even there. And we can quickly flutter over here to get ourselves up onto this cliff. Whew. And we got ourselves another orb we can get
Spyro,
here.
You have done well so far. You could have this little trinket for good luck. If you have any questions about shutting down the factory, just ask me.
And we get ourselves another orb by helping out Watt here.
Next glides get tricky. You'll have to use your hover maneuver to make them. Press the action button during a glide to hover and get extra height. Remember to press the action button when you're very close to the windmill, or you won't make it.
Thank you for that, buddy. So yeah, this one is gonna be quite the interesting trek here. So need to time our jump here very precisely to get onto this turbine. And we should be good to get to our next objective just over here. Yep, so now we want to hop over here, get onto this turbine, and then we can get to the top of these electric gates, leading back over where we first started our mission here in Hurricos. Also, I like the theming of this area, too, how this place is constantly storming, and that is why the electrals of this area use electricity to power their devices, taking advantage of nature for their own
help!
benefit.
The switch to turn off the gear grinder factory is in that room, but, it's awfully noisy in there.
Don't worry, I'll take care of that in just a second. So with that, we're able to get all the gems we need. And by hitting this switch, that disables the
Thanks for
factory.
shutting down the factory. Here, I found this stuck between the gears. You can have it if you want.
Thank you, Spike. And by taking care of that, we get ourselves another orb. And I believe that's the last orb we need for this area. Yep, all orbs collected, which means we have now got 100% completion in Hurricos. We are now done another area. So, it's time for us to head back to Summer Forest. Let's-a go. Revenge! Sweet, sweet revenge! Ah, that felt good. Completing another objective, getting ourselves a boatload of gems, and some more orbs for good measure. So with that, we are just over an hour and a half into this stream. So I think this is actually where we're going to stop things for today. We have made some excellent progress in starting our adventure here in Avalar, and have taken some great strides in freeing this area from Ripto. So next time, we will be taking on the remainder of the levels here in the Summer Forest before making our way to our first boss fight. Until next time, have a good day and take care.